Nice having you on the channel. Today we are going to look at how to create this particular personal finance dashboard in Power BI. So here is Power BI service. I'm going to take it to Power BI desktop, but before then, let's see what the data is all about. We have this personal finance data with just 7 columns and few rows right here, over 300 rows right here. So we're going to actually use this data and make sense with it to create something that looks just like what we have on our Power BI desktop right now. The development is very easy, not too complicated. All you have to do is to see what it is that you can do to have something as fancy as this using the data I've just shown you. So right here, this is the income part. So all we see right here is much more information about income. And this is the income, the expenses incurred, and the available balance. And we have targets. So we want to see if our target is being achieved or not. And we have 2 types of income. And we set an alert right here to tell us how many debt we are owing currently and what is the what. So going to the expenses part right here, if I click on the expenses part right here, let's see what we have. Under the expenses part, it gives us the category of the expenses like the housing, personal, and transportation category, and the total unpaid debt. And we have the subcategory right here. So it depends on what filter we have selected. That is going to be what we see. As you can see, we have transportation selected. It shows us dynamic headings. And if I have any month selected right now, let's see what we have. So how can we just create something as simple, clean, and very interesting like this? Let's get started. Now follow this first step. If you're already familiar with how to get data, you can skip and go ahead to where you don't really understand what I've done. But if you're not, just follow me gradually until we create this down to the end. So here are the data sources available to connect to. So we have our data in Excel workbook. I am going to click on connect and it's going to navigate us to where we have data right in. This is my data for personal finance, as you can see right here. I click on open and this will give me 2 options. The first option is to push this to Power BI straight up. And the second option is to push it to Power Query for we to check if the data is not clean whatsoever and make some changes. So clicking on this would help me to highlight and see what the data looks like, before we start working with it. So as you can see, this is the table available inside this particular worksheet. And right here, they're not active because I've not checked them. I'm going to check this. I'm going to go ahead and check this. And this is what we have. Now, clicking on load would actually, go straight up to Power BI. But when we click on transform data, it's going to take us to Power Query, where we can actually check if our data is cool before we decide to push it to, Power BI. All right, here we go. So now let me just show you what I've done right here to have this view in case you've not gotten this view before. At default, this is what you have, but I'm not really sure if my data is cool. Specifically, if you have huge amount of data, like 10,000 or millions of rows of data. So all you have to do, if you're on home, just click on view and do the profiling by checking the column quality. So the column quality does this. If I hover over this part right now, it gives me the quality of the column and how many rows do we really have inside it. 300 and 100% valid, no error and no empty rows. So scrolling to this end, let's see what we have right here. If I hover over this particular aspect right now, it tells me 252 is actually valid, which is 84%. Error is 0, but we have 48%, which is 16% of the data in the column to be empty. Why? And what do we do? Should we remove this or should we leave it? It depends on how it is. Speak to the clients, your boss, before you actually decide on what to do on this if it is not your personal data. But let us check it out and see what we can do. So going back to Excel. So if I go to this, let me just scroll up. So here is the status right here. If I scroll down now, we see this part is not actually paid or, unpaid. The reason was because it's on the income aspect. So it's not on expenses. And the date right here is actually empty because it is actually a bill due date. So there is nothing that is going to be bill due date or status on the income aspect. That was why it was left empty. So you leave it like that. Don't replace it with anything. Just let it be. Your data is cool and good to go. Okay, now that we've known what all that is all about, let us check the second column or the second table. So here we have everything to be very cool. That is okay. So we can close this and we are good to go. The next thing is for we to actually close and apply. This will definitely push our data into Power BI environment for us. So right here we have the two tables, and if we go to the relationship aspect here right now, we have relationship between the month and the month from the income goal to the month inside the main data right here. Okay, for now it's not going to work, but don't worry, we are going to make it work. All right, let's just go right here. It is time for we to start the magic to create something that looks just like what we've seen previously before this development. As you are doing this, make sure you have Power BI service, right active, as in logged in. So when you're logged in into your account, it will definitely give you access to actually get more visuals. Just for we to get this particular visual we have right here. The visual we have right here is called Sparkline by OKViz. So this actually helps us to show the trend on a monthly basis. We can see the month of January is actually the highest month. We have we have more valuable balance, and expenses went high in December right here, and we have income to go high in January right there. So now you just need to actually get the custom one. In case you can't get it, I'm gonna just open the Practice PBIX, and you'll find this right here, and you can use it 100%. It will work definitely. So now let us go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, I want to get my Sparkline. I'm logged in to my Power BI service. I click and say go to what? Get more visuals. So right on the sidebar, you type in what the name of the visual you want to get right in. That is going to be Spark. So now we have it. So we have the Sparkline right here. I'm just going to click on it and load the data. Okay, if this is your first time, you can read through everything, the documentation, and just get to know about the visual right here. So the pricing is actually free. You don't need to pay anything for this, and all you have to do is just to click on add. So imported successfully. I'm going to click on OK, and here we have it. So what is the next step? The next step is for me to actually look at how I can organize my measures in a single table. So I'm going to collapse this. And to do that, if you had been watching my videos, you would always know that I always love to actually, create a supporting table that just houses my, measures. So coming right here, I'm going to type in all measures. So I'm going to load straight up, no need to edit it. Okay, right here we have all measures. So before we start to do this, let's just click right on the data view and click on the main data right here to check out the columns we are going to actually use. We need to know the column name before we get started. So we're going to actually know the amount. So we want to see what is the total amount we have. And from there, we want to branch out to see how much we have incurred in expenses, what is left as the balance and stuff like that. Let's do that. Click, and you're going to see where it says new measure. So click on that. That will definitely help you to insert a new measure for you. So here is our new measure right here. So now inside this new measure, I'm going to say total amount. So it's going to be equal to the sum of the amount available in main data right here. So click on it, and we close it and hit enter. This will definitely give us what we want to know and how much we've actually had over time. So the next thing again is for we to branch out from this particular measure we have just created to know how much expenses we've incurred over time. So the second way to insert a measure is for you to go to calculation right here under measure tool and click on new measure. It will still give us the same thing. And now we're going to name this total expenses. So it's going to be equal to shift enter to go to the next line. And now I'm going to use a function called calculate. So once you're done, in case you have a lot of measures created, so to get all the measures, all you need to do is to click on this particular square bracket. Because we just have one measure, it shows us the one measure we've actually created. Your tab key will help you to actually have it right here. And now we want to actually filter the expenses we've incurred. So I'm going to put my comma right here and use a function called filter. So filter is looking for table. In which table is the column we want to actually filter from is sitting? It's actually sitting on main data, which is this particular column right here. So now we want to actually pull the column out right now and say where this particular, I'm going to type main. When I type in main, what happens is this: it shows me all the columns available inside this particular table. So those one in square bracket, they're all your columns, and the name main data is the name of the table where they're all sitting. So what we need now is actually main type. So main type where it is equal to expenses. So make sure you put it inside our bracket, inside our double quotation. And once you are done, we can just do this, shift enter to drop this into the next line. I'm going to come right here, shift enter. So we have to close our filter, shift enter, we'll close our calculate, and let us do proper formatting for this. So nicely done. So we have done this. I'm going to hit my enter key. Okay, let us see if this is actually cool, if it has no error. So I want to go right here. So get my total expenses and bring it into a card. So now we have just calculated our total expenses. As you are creating those particular measures, make sure you format them properly. Kindly use the $ or any of the currency number formatting you want, like Naira, Ghana cedis, or rupees, sign, whatever it is. And make sure you turn this auto to 0 for you not to have some preceding numbers like the decimal, whatever it is. So just try to do that. It's very, very important. The next step is to calculate the available balance. So which is going to be available balance. And to do that is very simple. I told you, in order to get into all the measures you've created, use the square bracket on a keyboard and it will definitely show you all the measures you've created. So now we're going to actually take total amount and we'll subtract the expenses from it, and that would give us the available balance. So just hit your enter key and quickly format it using the number formatting of your choice. Okay, I intentionally did something wrong just for me to show you how to fix it if you have the same problem. What is it? Now, if you look at it, I said we're going to have our measure inside all measure table, but suddenly we have our measure inside this particular main data table. So what do we do to push it right in here? Very simple. Make sure you actually, select the measure you want to move to another table and come right here under measure tools. So, and choose, instead of just under this particular home table, just click right here and choose where you want it to reflect. So right now, as soon as I make the changes, watch here, you see how many measures we're going to have available right there. So let us watch out what we have right here is working on it. So now it has been moved. Finally, so this particular column 1 is not needed. We can actually click and we click on hide, and that is going to actually hide it away from the view so we can't see it no more. Nicely done. So it is time for we to actually start to do our visualization, right? So here is my total expenses. All right, it is time to start our visualization. So here is our expenses. I'm just gonna go ahead and just minimize it like this. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually duplicate this. So just go to copy and I paste it twice. So we move this one right here and I will click on this and have this moved right here for now. So don't worry, we're going to fix this and create something very nice. So right here, we're going to have our total income, but we have not created the total income. So remember, we created it from this particular column right here. So click on main data and we click on main type. So we have two types. So we have expenses and income. So we've done for expenses, but we've not done for income. So let us go ahead and do that. It's something very simple. So click on expenses and we don't have to write this from the scratch again. All we have to do is just to Ctrl+C to copy it and create a new measure. Just go ahead and paste the one you've just copied right now into the new measure you are creating. So we change this one to total income instead. And we come right here and change this part to, so make sure you actually get right of all this. So income, and that will definitely, fix everything for us. So we are done. So the next thing now is just to click right here and go down to this part and just the income. So here we have the income and the expenses. And now we just have to put in the available balance right here. So we need to format this. How can we do that? So this formatting is not really cool. So we can format one and replicate it to others. So just let me just close this. So go through this particular part here and you click on this category, we turn it off. So you click on this particular callout and we use 40. I'm gonna go with 40 and we change the font or type for it. I'm gonna use this particular area black. So we have something like this. That is nice. So we just have to turn off the background. And now we can just get the same formatting for this and we get the same formatting for this. So nicely done, right? So the next thing right now is to get the sparklines right for it. So I'm going to click on the sparkline. So here we have it right here. Under the sparkline, I'm going to go with the month we have right inside our main data table. So we click in the month and I'm going to come right here and push in the total income. And this will definitely create this sparkline for me. So I don't like the way this sparkline looks like right now. I want to take off this and actually change the way it looks. I want to go right here and just turn off category, and that will definitely give us this. And the next thing, go here and click on this, then take off the background. So nicely done. So we can actually make it, fit into what we want. Okay, now let me show you how to read this particular sparkline properly. So now the green right here represents high, while this particular, red represents low. This is the low month, which is July, and the highest month where we have, a lot of income is actually January right here. Nicely done. So we can just actually push it to where we want to have it right in. Don't worry about the formatting right now. As we keep progressing, we'll now fix everything right here. So just copy this and paste it and actually move it to the other part of it and do the same thing right here. And you move this to this particular part. Can you see that right now? So we have to change this to make sure it gives us what we want. This is actually our total available balance. So we have to make sure we change it. So we come right here and this one is going to be our expenses. And if you look at this sparkline, it's actually different trends. That is okay. Nicely done, right? So now I don't love saying this because it's not giving me joy at all. It is time to start to create the dashboards, template that is going to make the dashboard look very okay. I believe we all have PowerPoint installed. So go ahead and open your PowerPoint. It doesn't really matter if you're using 365, 2021, 2016, or whatever it is. So we're not going to do something complicated in PowerPoint. Just go ahead and do that. Let us look at the first one we've created before we start to create our own from the scratch. So here is the previous template we've created to be used on Power BI. So we're going to actually replicate what we've done right here to create the new one. So what I'm going to do right now is just to actually enter a new slide. Is something blank. This is how it looks like. So now we need to change the background from this color. So just right click and go to format background. And I'm going to come right here. I'm going to choose this particular, black background with lighter 50%. So here we go. We have just gotten this done. So remember, you can shift this and take it to where you like and move it anywhere you like. So that's for we to create space to see what we're doing better. I prefer something like this. Okay, next is for me to go to my insert. And I'm going to go to shapes. And from there, I'm going to take this particular rounded corner rectangle. So we just drag it down. So we need to get the size we want for it. So just go to this particular, shape format. So right here, we do it by. So what we did was to change the height and the weight. So the height is actually 7.32 and we made the weight to be 12.73, and that will definitely give us this. So we can just move it and have it right here and reduce the corner part of it a little bit, something like this. So we want to actually make sure we centralize this inside the background. So just click on the background and click right here. And just click on this one right here, even if it's just like this. So now make sure you go here and you go to align and you align middle. And next again, you click on align center. So this will give you equal justification. And nicely done, right? So the next thing again is for we to make sure we actually go right here and move this in. And for the line, we want to say no line to it. And we just go ahead and change this to white. So now we are cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this, take another shape, which is this shape. So we just have to change this. So go to this particular shape format and we change the height to 6.67. And here it's going to be 1.89. So it gives us this. So we move it right here, and we just make sure we trim the corner aspect of it and make it what we really want. Just make sure it sits right how you want it. So we have to change the color, to this. So to do that, make sure you click on it and you just say no line. And under the fill color, we need to just go ahead and change the color. Sorry, we just have to come here. So have it selected. Click and select the black you have right here. So this is the black color I want to use. So you can choose any of the blacks you really want to use for it. So we've used this particular black color. In case you want to know the color code to that, and this is the color code. So the red is actually 38, and you can go with the hex code as well. Type it in. You're gonna have the same black color if you want to have the same thing just like as I have. So this is what you get. So we have one more. So I'm gonna go ahead and click right here on the insert and still pick any of the shapes. Let us pick this one. I'm going to drag it as big as I want. So right now I have to change the color. So this is the color I want to use for it. So the color code again, in case you want to see the color code, here is the color codes right here. Type the red, the green, the blue, and as well, you can actually copy the hex code and that will do the magic for you. So now that we have this, let us see what we're going to do. So you can see this particular part right here. So you just make sure you place the cursor right in and you turn this around. So we can actually make sure we bring this right here and we extend it all the way down. So we can just make it go this way. What I'm going to do right now is to right click and actually send this to back. So we can start fixing it from here to create the kind of, or to create what we want. So we go with something like this. So go to the previous one, you'll see what we have done is just exactly like what we are doing right now. But what I want is not for me to make sure it covers from the top like this. I'm going to have to reduce it and make sure it starts just like this. This gives me what I want. If you want to know how it looks like right now, all you have to do is to Ctrl P to show it in a print format. So this is the end result you're gonna have. Can you see it right now? Yeah, it's the end result. Cool, right? So let us go back. So we come here, just take this back. Okay, now that we are here, let us actually go and search for snippet tool on our desktop. So just click on the desktop icon on your system. It's gonna actually bring this up, and you can search in snippet tool. This snippet tool would help you to some kind of create a screenshot from your dashboard. So if you have external one installed, you can use that. So now click on new, and I'm gonna actually just pick this particular area here. That is the area of my dashboard. I pick it. That is good. So the next thing I'm gonna do right now is to actually save it somewhere where I can actually pick it up. So I'm gonna save it under this, multiple S's. I'm gonna click on OK. So now I know what I used to save it. I'm gonna use that to pick it up. So go back right here. So this is the process. So we come back here. So we go to insert, and from there we click on pictures, and from device. So we go to where we have the picture writing. So it's on the desktop. I'm gonna type in the first letter, and here we go. Just make sure you save yours with whatever makes sense to you. So this is what it is. So I'm gonna make sure I actually, make it cover to this end. Can you see it right now? Nicely done. So once I have done this, what I'm gonna do right now is just for me to see if I can make this transparent. I wanna go to this particular part right here. This format picture. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on this. Okay, I think this cannot be transparent. Okay, to continue this right now, what we can do is just for we to actually add most of those icons we have right here right now. So I'm going to copy this away from here. It's something very simple that you can just type out and all of that. So I'm going to copy this title. So I'm going to have it right on this right here. So I will go to my insert, and from there I'm going to go to icons. I might have something a bit different from what you have. It is because of my version of PowerPoint or Microsoft package. So here we have the icons. Just search for whatever you want. I'm going to search for cash. That is icon that represents money. So I'm going to go with this one, and let us go with this one as well. So I'm going to click on OK. I'll just insert. So here we go, we have it inserted for us. Hold your shift key to just reduce it and step off. And here we go. This is what it is. I'm gonna have to use this one right here. So I would some kind of bring it down a bit just to create space between here. So when we get to Power BI, we can have this other part fixed. This is what I do. I switch back to PowerPoint to Power BI until I have something that actually exactly told me. So I'll now go ahead and take this. I'm going to have it right here. So I'm going to pick this one right now. I'm going to have it right here because I want to shift this to the side. So now what I'm going to do now is just make sure we are cool. I'm going to have to remove this for now. So this is what we have. So I love this space between here and there. So we just have to make sure we have it aligned. So I'm going to click on this particular. So go to align and align this button. So we have it properly aligned. And this is the first thing we do right here. Okay, what I need to do right now is just to see how this works. So see how we export this. File, and we go to export. And you have the option to choose between PNG, JPEG, or even GIF. So if you want to go for GIF, double click on this, just search for GIF on the other end. So I'm going to go with JPEG for now. Double click on it and choose where you want to have it saved in. I want to just say T1. I'm going to click on OK or save, and I just need this one. So let us go ahead and go to Power BI and let's see what it is that we have right here. So first of all, click on this particular format your report page and go to canvas background, and you just choose the image. So remember the name. And now we just have to make sure we take it to 0 So that was why I did this. I knew for sure it's gonna actually, collide this. Now I have to manually move this. I can just compress it. Just do the same thing to this as well. So now I can move this right here. Then I can just come right here and I move this along as well. So we just do the same thing to this one. All right, you can see it is looking a bit cool. So I just have to make sure I move this down a bit to create space for the label of the title. So now I have something like this. What I'm going to do right now is to take another screenshot of it. So I have my, snippet tool actually pinned. I just have to retake this one. So I'm going to take this one and we save it back to where we have it before. So we don't need to do something new. Just go ahead and replace it with this one, save, and yes. So we close this. So we go back to PowerPoint this time around again. And now we are here back on our PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do now is just for me to come here and click on the insert and bring in my picture, then this device. This is what you do if you want to create something very awesome that look very much different from what basic people could do. So come right here. I'm going to click on open and I'm going to have to move it this way. Just try to extend it until it covers to this end here. Okay. Right. So the next thing again is for me to just some kind of type out what it is that you need to have on it. So I just don't want to do that from the scratch, or even let us even do it from the scratch. I think that pays off. I don't want to just make sure I do something behind the scene that you'll be thinking like, how did you do it? Text box, and here I'm going to type in my income. So you can't see it because it is on white background. I want to go to my text here and change the color of my text to something that is a bit darker. So something like this. And what I need to do now is just to some kind of make sure it's a little bit bigger. And now I want to some kind of, spatium. So that is where I love to use this part here. I'm going to say loose, not very loose. Very loose will give you some kind of white space. So just go to loose. I love it this way. So I'm going to have to get this. I'm going to have it right here. And once I've done that, I'm going to have to just get this one and have it right here for my expenses. Here is going to be my expenses. So we just extend it to get this. So this one is going to be our available balance. So we stretch it until we'll have this. So we can just make sure we have something like this. Nicely done. This is all we need. So now that we've gotten this done, so we just have to remove the image we brought in, which is this image. I'm going to have it deleted. So we've just created something like this again. One thing I don't like about this now is that this is too dark. We have to change the color to look as cool as this. So do that by clicking on this and just choose something like this. It looks a little bit calm, but we want something that is more calm. Yeah, nicely done. That is okay. So what we do now is to actually replace this. So go to change and try as much as you could to stick to one, file type. That is JPG. So double click and it takes you here. Here is it. Just double click on it. Just replace it and click on just this one. So we go back to Power BI. I told you if you want to create something great, this is what you do. So go to Canvas and remove this one. Then just choose the new one. So can you see what we've done now? Nicely done. I spent a lot of time to do this in case you are finding a little bit difference from what I've done, massively from this. So this is what you do. So now check this part out. It is actually the income versus the targeted income. So we want to actually show this on a gauge chart like this. So let's see how we can do that. Before then, let us look at something very important. So going back right here. So if I some kind of select this, I'm going to pick this card right here. I'm going to add my total income. I know I have it already here, but I just want to make it clear to you. I'll select on that card again, and I'll bring in this particular total income target right in here. And the next thing again is for me to actually add a slicer. So my slicer will now come to this part. So we're going to fix it later. And the slicer month is going to come from this particular main date right here. We have a month existing to be used to slice it. So if I use this slicer, it does not actually have an effect on this particular one right here because it was a different table entirely. So going back right to this particular part, you can see the table right here, which says income goal. And it has connection and it is one-to-many to this particular part right here. So what we want right now is to see how we can actually fix that so that when we actually use the slicer to filter any of the month, it will definitely, have effect on both of the tables. So what to do to fix that is going back to the model view and just right click on this and click on properties. Okay, from there, what you need to do now is just to come right here and change it from single to what? To both. And once you're done, just click on OK. So the problem should be solved by now. So go back to this particular, view, the report view. So now if I select August, it changes to 16. If I select like April, it changes to 19. So both of them are working, and this is what I want to show you. So I don't really need to have this. I just want to use that as an illustration to show you how to fix, such situation. So I have them removed. So the right chart to be used right now is this. So now if you look at this, this is the month here. I don't want the month to filter if I just select the filter right now, what you see back this particular, spark line again. But when I select the month. So I don't want the spark line to be affected. Then what do we do? Let's just fix this. Make sure you click on the filter or the visual you want to deselect from a particular visual and go to format. And from there, click on edit interactions. And now here we have it. I'm turning it off, turn this off, and I'm going to turn this off as well. So right now it affects the value, but it wouldn't affect the spark lines. So nicely done, right? So go ahead and just deselect it. And here we have this back. So let us select the right visual, which is this particular gauge right here. Now I'm going to bring it down here, open it up a little bit, and here we go. Nicely done. So the first thing we do is for we to get in the data that will be peculiar to the value and the target value area. So with the chart selected, so total income target is coming to the value area right here. So this is our target right now based on what we have selected. So if I deselect it right now, it gives us the full target. Don't worry about the color and other formattings. It is something we're going to handle in a jiffy, but you just watch what I do. So now already I have actually created it as a measure. To calculate it is a very simple measure, just using the sum to calculate this and format it rightly, and that is cool. So the next one again is just to select this, and now for my target is for me to move my income into this particular target, value right here. So we can't see any changes, right? But what if we hover over it? What do we see? And if I select a particular month right here, and let's see, can you see that right now? It shows up right here, which means our income is above the target. So if you look at what I've done here, it is something that further explains what it is that you're saying. So here now, based on what I have right here right now, it says total income is greater than targeted income by $85,248. You see that? So when I select a particular month, it gives me something different. Depends on what it is. So right here, it says you could not meet your target in September. So it is less than or lower than the total target by this value. So how do we get this? This is not something default. You would have to write a little bit text and have this done to make sure it explains further to the end user. Okay, we are going to name this measure to be gauge caption. So I'm going to put my equal to right here. So I am going to create two variables. Those two variables, the first one is going to house the variance between my total income to targeted income. And the second one is going to store in the month we have selected from the slicer. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to say variable. This is it, variable. And I'm going to name my variable name to be variance. Let me just say variance. Oh, don't mind me. So variance. So now what I want to store now is this. I want to take total, income, and I'm going to subtract the total targeted income from it. Your square bracket from it. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to step to the next line. So I'm going to create under variance again. So under variable rather. So under variable. And inside this variable, what I want to store now is the selected month. Month underscore select. So make sure the name you're going to use is different from the table names or any functions that is inbuilt inside Power BI, so that you don't have an error. So now using underscore is always cool. So now I'm going to say equal to, and how do we store the month that is going to be selected from our slicers? That is going to be using this selected value. So using the selected value right here, and inside selected value, I want to pass in the column from the main data table, which is this particular one right here, main data month. So I'm going to have to close this. So we are done from the variables. The next thing is for we to return it. So I'm going to just type in return. So you're going to have to shift enter to go into the next line. And now we're going to use if condition to get what it is. It might look a little bit difficult if you have not done that before, but if you are very calm to watch this over and over again, you would find out that is the most easiest way to have this done, and you might end up understanding how to create something different from what I'm doing right now. Let's try it. So I'm going to actually use the if condition to determine what I want. So I'm going to say if I go up now, variance is actually the difference between income and total target, right? If I should actually return it now, let's say I want to return that. Before, okay, let's say I type in if, and I don't want to some kind of, delete my if. I can comment it out with this backslash. So it's not going to have any effect. So now I'm going to return my variance right here. So I'm going to type in variance. So here is the one we've created. Variance underscore goal. Let's just do this. So now I don't want to look like a function. So type in here variance. Here we go. I've returned this. Now I'm going to click on OK. Let us break it down for we to understand what we are doing. So now, nicely done. So I'm going to have to push this inside the card. So I've pushed this inside the card right now. So if I clear the filter, this is what we have. So we just move this away from here. So now what we have right now is the variance between this particular income and this particular one, which is our targeted income. So if I select December, so you see the variance is actually minus this particular number, which means my income is greater. Rather, my targeted income is greater than the income we made. So now it gives us this. So we're going to make sense with this and create what we want. So click on this measure, giving us this. And now we have to get this off. So we have to uncomment this by taking this off. Is active now. We can make use of it. So what we can do right now, we're going to say if variance underscore goal right here is greater than 1, which is, it is not like minus, it's actually going to be something positive. It is not negative number. So what I want is this. I'm going to say comma, and it's going to say if the result is true, what do you want? I want to have something like total income is greater. That is, total income is greater than targeted income. That is all I want. So I can have this closed. That is for if it is true. Then if it is not true, which means if it is false, what do you want to have? I just want to actually, okay, sorry, before we go to if result is false, I want to actually concatenate something right on it. I wanted to show the value that it actually, used to be higher than that of the income, whatever it is. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to actually type in my ampersand right now. So I want to actually concatenate the variance. Go. So comma. So for the result is false, for now I'm going to say give me empty. Let us try to see if this works well. So let's see what is going to happen right here. So it gives us nothing because it does not meet up with the first, if it is true. Right now, let us see that. I'm going to clear the filter. Let's see what we have. So now, here we go. Can you see what we have right here right now? Total income is greater than targeted income by this. So this is not properly formatted in a number formatting. We can do this using the format function. If you're very familiar with Microsoft Excel, you would have known what I'm talking about by now. So how do we do this? Select here and come to where you have this particular variable here that we store the variance right in, and actually use this particular format. So format, then open brackets. And now, after the comma, you can type in your $sign. So here is it, format. So a $sign depends on how you want it to be formatted. So before the $sign is a double quotation, then the $sign, a hash, comma, 2 hashes, and you close the double quotation. You now close the bracket for the format, right? And now I'm going to have in that comma right here for me not to have an error. Then let's see what it's going to give us. So look at this number. It is going to change right now with the right formatting. Can you see it right now? $566,028. That is what it is. But right now we are having this income with it, some kind of like not really cool. What do? We can come right here and add double quotation, give a space, another one, and under ampersand right here. If I hit my enter, that will separate this number from my income. Can you see that right now? So this is when it is true. So when it is false right now, what do you want? So when it is false, what we want to return is this. I want to come right here. So now let us actually take this part off. So we now can add comma, and on that, if the result is false, so we have to just tell it what we want to see. So how do we do that? So first of all, we have to open a double quotation, and you're gonna say, you could not meet your targets in. So you stop it at in. So you close the double quotation. Remember you open a double quotation right here. So you now close it. So once you have it closed, the next thing you're going to do right now, we want to concatenate the month we have in selection right here. Do you get that? So we have to add it up. How do we do it? Very simple and easy. With the ampersand, we'll have it joined. the earn, and now we say month selected or month select. So now we have to actually close it again, open under ampersand rather, and actually, bring in the value. And this time around, you've known how to bring in the value. That is just going to be the variance right here. The variance goes right here. And now we are going to use the format just to format it just like this. I would have loved to copy this and paste it right here. It's going to work, but I just want to do it from the scratch for you. So I'm going to say format, open, and variance. Oh, sorry, we don't need the open brackets or the double quotation, so we have to take off the double quotation for we to have what it is. So format, here is it, and variance goal. So we pick it up from here, and that is what you need to do. So once you are done with this, just actually add your comma and the open double quotation by this time, your $sign, the hash, comma, 2 hashes, and there you have to actually close this and close this. That will give you the right formatting, just like what we have right here right now. So the next thing again is for me to some kind of, add another ampersand again and concatenate something different. So I'm going to actually add lower, just give a space, lower than targets right here, lower than target. So close this and now have this closed. So if I hit my enter right now, let's see what we have. So we don't see that. So let us select the month that will not meet up with this particular condition so that we can actually use it to customize this. So let us go with December. So this is cool. So I'm just gonna be like, open it up. So now if you look at it, you could not meet your targets in December. So then I need to have a full stop right here. So how do we go ahead and do that in December? Then we can have a continuation from here, which is 3,521 lower than targets. It's just my English. You can just use anything you like to explain further what this chart is all about. That is what I have done. It's just to show you an example of what it is that you need to do. So clicking back right here right now. So we have the month. So if I want to add space and as well add points as period to end this sentence right here, what I need to do is to come right at the back of format and actually add this particular, double quotation and actually add under ampersand again. That will give me the space that we need to do that. Then that is nice. Let's see that. So we have the space, but I don't have the full stop. All I need to do right now, this is actually a delimiter. We use space delimiter, but right now I'm going to have a full stop right in here. And if I hit my enter, my full stop should be close to December. And that will actually give me what I want. Nicely done, right? This is all you need to do to have this created. So isn't this very easy? So the next thing to do right now is just for we to some kind of like, okay, now we have gotten this down. We have to format this to look right. Just click right here and turn off this particular, category label. Then we go right here to remove the effects, then remove the background. And we come back right here now to reduce this. Let us have it on 20. And now we can just make sure we use something like this and bring it all the way down right here. So what about this? Great, huh? So now this is what it is that we have. So we can actually, work around to see what it is that we can do to select what is going to be best fit. I'm going to use 18 and 18 seems to be perfect. And now we just have to move this up a little bit. And I have to go ahead and turn off the background away from it. So I've turned that off. So this is how it looks like, just like what we have right in here. So can you see that? Now on the next part, let us show the income trend on a monthly basis. So we can select the month from our, our main data right here, and we select a line chart for it. And all we do is just for we to pick our income. So we have it. So because we have a slicer selected right here, it has the effect right on this particular one. So all I need to do right now is to select it and go to format. Then from there, click on edit interaction and just go ahead and deselect it right here. Nicely done, right? So I just have to make sure I open it up, and I'm gonna just make sure I'm shifted down a little bit. Okay, nicely done. So we need to format this to look very well and all that. So all I do is just to come here, and first of all, I turn off the background that I really want to see that. And I come right here, I turn off the title. I don't want to use the title from here. And the next thing I do is for me to go to a visual. And now we just need to go ahead and work on the x-axis and the y-axis. So by now you should have known what your x-axis is. And this is the x-axis right here, and this is your y-axis. So we need to keep them, but the titles need to be, taken off. So I'm going to just go ahead and scroll down a little bit and turn off the title for the x-axis. And I just want to make sure this pops out a lot. I'm gonna have to put it on bold, and that is cool. So for the y-axis, we go ahead and close this, have it opened, and we turn off the title and leave it the way it is. We don't need to make sure it pops out beyond what it is right now. So we have gotten this created, and that is nice. So click back right here and make sure you click on this, and this is cool. So one thing I would really love to do right now is to make sure I change the look of my slicer. So what I need to do now is just for me to go right to this particular header. I want to leave the header the way it is. Go to settings, and from vertical to horizontal. Nicely done. So I just have to make sure I resize it to sit right. And I just have to make sure I go down a bit and have it opened up. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I have it in the middle of this part here. All right, I think I'm almost, yeah, nicely done. So what else is for me to come here and turn off the background, and it gives me something like this. Okay, if we don't fancy the way it is right now, like the color we have right here, all we have to do is to make sure we change the color to match this particular color right here. In case you don't know what kind of black color it is, what we need to do is to visit back our PowerPoint. Here we are. So click on this and let us bring this up and just go right here and come to more colors, and we pick this particular hex code away from here. Ctrl C to copy it and click on OK and step back to Power BI, and there we go. We have to just work on this. So go to value, and I will scroll down. We go to background, and on the background is where we want to paste the code we've just copied right in. So we just go to more, and we have it pasted right here, and this is what we have as a result. So can you see it makes our dashboard to look more cool? But this is not really what we want, because the unselected one is not really looking very much fancy. So what I need to do right now is just to select it back again, go right here, go to value, and now we just have to choose different color for it. So what if we go with this? So you can go with something a little bit darker than that, so that the one we have selected can stand out. Can you see it? When we select July right now, it stands out from the rest. The color is bright and all that. Can you see it? This is what I've done. So the header is not really showing up to tell us what this slicer is all about. So what we can do is to go back right here again and go for header. So we need to turn the header on and put it on something like this. So you can see month, and that is all we have to do to have this created. Nicely done, right? So we're not yet done. If we look at the previous one we have created, we were able to some kind of highlight some aspect of it, like the main income and the side income. So all we need to do now is to actually create something like this, so that we can know how much we made on main income and how much we made on side income based on the month we have in selection, and even have it as a slicer.